The day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 353. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for the Rated G Network, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Rated G for Gamers. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Martino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man? We're back.
We're back, baby. We're back. Back from PAX. Oh, so good.
Well, nobody has PAX pox. Nobody turned into a zombie. We're all...
One person I heard got COVID there.
Okay, well, you know what?
But
I don't know that person, and that's the thing.
Out of the 80,000 con goers, I think we're good. Knock on wood. I think we're okay.
I lost my voice is still trying to come back. So
oh my god!
I still lost my voice.
So this is PAX recap episode part 2. I think it's fair to say we did do a post PAX episode in our hotels up in Boston. So if you haven't listened to that episode or watched that episode yet, go back and take a listen to that because we do talk about a ton of stuff there. I think it was a great experience. 2023 was probably one of the best, if not the best PAXs that we've been to. Would you agree?
It was the best PAX, if not one of the best PAX we've been to. And one of the reasons is the weather held up, right?
Except for that one night, it rained like crazy.
Except for the one night, it was kind of drizzling when we got back. It started raining.
It was yeah.
But you know, other than that, I mean, you know, the first PAX was the best PAX that we went to because it was like in April. Right?
2016? Yeah, it was late. It was late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 2017 and 2018 it was like blizzards both times. It was just terrible.
Yeah, there's a certain charm to that, you know. You're really out there braving the wild to see those video games.
Well, now, you know what? Let me rephrase. Just the PAX experience, like the experience of going to PAX, this was one of the best. Right. This was right there. Like, it was the first time we went to PAX and this one.
Yep.
Because every other time it was just either really cold or a blizzard.
Well, let's take the elements. Let's take the weather, all the outside stuff out of it. The show itself is pretty great this year.
I think the show...
no, okay.
I don't know what great... you know, again, missing a lot of stuff, right? Missing the big boys, the Microsoft and Sony.
Sure.
And kind of missing Nintendo, right? Like, Nintendo was there, but it was more of, like, old games, you know, an arcade. It was, like, you know, like a versus style thing.
They did have the
Mario
Pokemon...
Kart.
Yeah, they had the Mario Kart. They even had there was Super Mario Brothers. The OG one was there. You go head to head and a bunch of stuff, which was cool. Yeah, you know.
I think from a game standpoint, I think I want to say 2019 or 2020 were like the best when we had everybody there. It was packed, and we had
2020 didn't have Sony and Microsoft and Capcom.
No, Microsoft came.
Microsoft, Sony wasn't there. Capcom wasn't there.
So
Japanese studios.
No. Sony and Square weren't there.
Square wasn't there. Well, Square was there, and
Square sent like a quarter of a crew there. Right?
Yeah,
I think it was like from the American office.
Yep.
With the voice actors from Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yep.
But Square wasn't there proper.
Right. Didn't have the big booth. They weren't there this year either, which is surprising.
No, they had the big booth, but it was a lot of empty space in the booth because they had already paid for the booth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm surprised they weren't there this year either. They did have a big Final Fantasy 16 panel, which was awesome. And they did have the big board, the big screen in the West End just kept running Final Fantasy 16 footage. So
I know.
I'm pretty hyped. Pretty hyped for it, gotta say.
It's coming out. It's coming out in June, right after. It's coming out at the end of June, I think, because Street Fighter 6 comes out first. June's gonna be big game wise. Wow.
We got Tears of the Kingdom in May. Street Fighter, right?
You get Redfall, right? That's coming out in early May or mid May. I think mid May now. So. No, I think this was a great PAX experience. Got to meet some new friends. Jay and Susan, right? Streamers.
Yeah.
Awesome people.
Jay used to be my assistant manager at Electronics Boutique way back in the day when he used to work in the Smith Haven Mall. I've told some stories about that. And Jay was awesome. Me and him got along great. And he started streaming. He brought his friend Susan, who's also a streamer. Check out Turtle J77 and Triple G. I forget her exact handle. I think it's GG Gorgeous _3 is her handle. We'll make sure to put that in the show notes. But they're great. They do stream it all the time. It was their first time at PAX.
Good Game Gorgeous.
There you go.
At a sticker right here.
Good game Gorgeous. There you go.
Good game. You're looking at the video portion. I have the sticker up. Good Game Gorgeous. I knew I had it in front of me.
Yeah.
All right. It was a great experience. One of the best experiences. We got to go see a lot of indie games, see a lot of games that are kind of similar this year. That's why I thought it was, compared to other years, I thought it was good. I wouldn't say great.
I have some thoughts on that phenomenon later, but I'll save them when we get into the games. All
right. So I want to start off by talking about like hardware and apps. Right, like it's new-ish like hardware, and definitely a brand new app that's out. So hardware-wise, I got to check out the Logitech G, which it's a handheld, just cloud, sort of a handheld cloud gaming service by hardware by Logitech. 7-inch full HD touchscreen screen, 60 hertz refresh rate. Right. You can play games from your console, your Xbox console, through the app, and I thought it's sort of what the PSP and like the Vita did with the PS3 and the PS4. Tried to be the Wii U before the Wii U was a thing. Right?
Yeah, blazing new ground. Yeah.
It felt really good in the hands. It was big like a Steam Deck, but as thin as sort of like a Switch. Or Switch Lite even, right? So I thought it was like super ergonomic. I played Doom. I played a racing game. Can't think of the name. Escapes me off the top of my head. And I thought like, oh, this is like cool. Like this. I mean, obviously I got great internet, right? Because I'm in the Logitech booth. This is what Stadia should have been, right? I mean, it got Google written all over it. It's Logitech G.
Right.
This should have been Stadia, right? Here's your cloud handheld console, in partnership with Logitech, and you could play your games in your browser, and you could pick up right where you left off on your Logitech G, which is Logitech S at this point. Your Stadia machine. This is what it should have been.
It helps to have actual controls, because you could do streaming on the go with Stadia. With Pixel devices, I don't know how far they got rolled out with it, but it was initially just like Pixel, like their own Google Pixel devices for whatever reason. I guess like horsepower was like a big thing for whatever reason, but having the two analog sticks, the shoulder buttons and all that makes all the difference. Right?
100%.
Yeah. Now, what'd you think? What were your impressions of it? Because I know you're like on the fence about getting a portable computer, even though this is streaming, but...
So I definitely tested the crap, as much as I could, like being in their setting, right? I played Doom. Fresh rate seemed cool. I didn't get killed by any monsters because I got killed by monsters because I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to record it at the same time.
Right.
Doing it one-handed, but it was good. The racing was good. I didn't get a chance to play any fighting games. You had to really log into your Xbox account if you wanted to play any games off of Games Pass. Wasn't going to do that, obviously. Right. And all the stuff that was available to me, I played Fortnite.
Okay, there you go.
just to see how it would go, and it seemed pretty well. The sound, I actually bumped it up all the way just to hear the sound. Sound quality was fantastic. I liked it. It's actually on sale now. The regular price I think is $349, but they have it on sale for $299.
Yep.
It's still just too expensive in my case. I mean, in my view, if it was $199, I would be more enticed to make an impulse buy on it.
Oh, well, I mean, I was going to say, like, at the price that it's at, even with the $50 discount, it's only a $100 difference from the Steam Deck, which is more powerful, and you can play games locally as long as you download them on the system. I didn't get the chance to play the cloud, but I feel like, and I have played the Steam Deck, I think the Steam Deck is the better option, just for what you get, price to performance, and the fact that you can play locally, and you can stream stuff too. You can hook up all your different accounts and stream if you want to do that on the Steam Deck if you wanted to.
Well, the Steam Deck, you could just do so many different things. I mean, you could just, that's your computer. It's your handheld computer.
You can emulate. Right? You can throw Windows on there if you wanted to. Like, yeah, it's pretty wild.
So I would be more inclined to buy a Steam Deck than a Logitech G. Like I said, if this was $199, then I would, this would be an impulse buy. Or okay, it's $199. I could definitely do something. I could do that. Great. That's a Switch Lite right there. I think I don't even know how much is a Switch Lite. Is a Switch Lite $199?
$200, I think.
$200, yeah.
I think it's.
So I would be more. Yeah. I would be more inclined to pay $199 than $349 or $299. That is less of an impulse buy in my view. But one of the most interesting things that we saw at PAX was, it's not really an app, not yet at least, but it is a website, and it's a social website for gamers called Critrate.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to do this, it's Critrate.io. It's not Critrate
.com,
because then you're going to get it in cryptocurrency.
Completely different service, yeah.
Completely different. Yeah, so it's definitely Critrate.io, Critrate.io. And this sort of, you go through the initial sign-up process where they ask you a whole bunch of questions, because they have 5 different sort of categories or classes, just like if you're in Hogwarts, right?
It felt very Harry Potter house-ish, and it is perfect. I thought it was very cool, yeah.
And it sort of links you up with like-minded gamers, right? If you're in the same class, and it's pretty much where you could dine. You could say, hey, I like these games. And I'm someone that's a like-minded gamer as you. I may like those games too. So I look at it more for the future. I don't, I really do hope it gets traction as we go to the all digital future and have streaming services and Games Pass, where a lot of games can get lost in the shuffle and you're like, I don't know what to play. Like, I go on Games Pass now, and I'll be honest, I'm lost. I'm just scrolling through. I'm just scrolling through, 100+ games, and I don't know what game will capture my attention, or what game that I like. And, we had discussed it, sort of off camera, and it's like, well, you just look at a trailer, but am I going to look at a trailer of all 100+ games?
Right. Like, you get a little paralysis, right? So, people may think like, whoa, isn't it just like aggregating scores? Like, how do they they don't measure it by scores. They kind of measure it by like different metrics, right? Is this more of like a casual style game? Is this more of a competitive multiplayer game, right? And then like based on like those characteristics, then people can go in and say like, I like this game or I don't like this game based on your personality tests, right? So like we both did the tests, right? It's a 72 question test, I think. They break it up into 6 sections, and they ask you, like, do you strongly agree or strongly disagree with, I like playing competitively online, right? You would strongly disagree. I would strongly agree. I like playing, like, Halo online and all that. You like the more single-player experience. So when we did it, we got 2 separate houses, right? I think you got the Curionaut, which I think is a great name.
I got the Curionaut.
Right, and I got
which is like more of a casual gamer. It's geared towards more of a casual gamer.
Right, and I got the Vantageist, which is more like the strategist, which makes sense. Strategy and difficulty, right? You know, I like putting games on hard mode, so it was, you know, perfect. And you can look at the breakdown, right? So you don't fit necessarily just into one house. You have a primary house, and then you may have like a secondary house, right?
What was your secondary house? We never talked about this. I'm a incendiary. That's my secondary house, which was rare.
Incendiary, yeah.
Which is actually pretty rare. So yeah, I felt good. Like I'm a rare specimen.
Right. I don't know offhand. I forget what my secondary house is. I'll have to kind of dig into it, but we can definitely.
Gallivander.
What's that?
Gallivander. You could be a Gallivander.
I mean, I could be a Gallivander, yeah. I mean, like, there's interesting parts to every one of them, right? Like, Curionauts like to experiment. They like a more slow-paced situation, like a turn-based strategy fan, right? Incendiary is glory and solo play. Which is interesting. Gallivander for fun and multiplayer. Yeah, there you go.
Definitely me, Incendiary.
And the Bravadier for glory and fast-paced gameplay, which is interesting. So it's cool. I dig the I guess the iconography of the branding for each like one of the houses. They're in like nice simple colors. They have really good line art. It's really cool. And then like at the show, which I also thought was kind of cool too, is that they had a big board. And they had all of the games, or we as many that were listed on the PAX website. They cataloged all of the games, what they are, and they were in the website. So when you went to log in, you could go and scan your badge, and then like, oh, I'm playing this game right now, and it's at this particular booth, and you could say whether you liked it or not, right? You go yay or nay on it, and it would give you the top games that all of the people in your particular house, like in my case, the Vantagist house, what the top rated games were. And I was looking at the list and I'm like, that's pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. So
true. Well, the list that they had on the board, pretty much, I think it had all the games that they would vote on. It wasn't just PAX games, because the number one game under Curionauts was Super Mario Brothers, the first one.
Yeah. It was. I'm like that's here, and it's like it was at the Nintendo Versus booth.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Because I think it was part of the Nintendo Switch Online. I think you could play the online service there.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know that. So, okay, maybe they did have just PAX games on the big board. So no, Super Mario Brothers is number one.
Yeah.
Right. Like sometimes it drives. Like if you look, sometimes it dropped down like to 2 to 3 to 4, but it always went back up to number one. So I think it ended with like it being like the number one game for Curionauts at the show, which makes sense because that is, you know. Obviously, they didn't have Super Mario World because it'd be number one. But Super Mario Brothers.
Isn't that in the NSO, though? I think that's on the Nintendo Switch Online. I don't know. Isn't it on the online service?
I will say this. When I looked at the list, I didn't see Super Mario Brothers 3.
No, well, I mean, okay. All right.
So, but that would make sense. That would be the number one game. A Mario game would be like the number one game for Curionauts on the list. So that would make sense. And I was thoroughly impressed, and I think I want to see them flesh out a little bit more. I think it should be a little bit easier to go in and out of games, like when you want to vote and say, you know, because they have it, you know, you like it, you love it, or, you know, you leave it. Those are your 3 categories to vote on games. And, you know, when I go in, I have to always like refresh and go back, like hit the backspace to go back out of that game. I figured, and I didn't know if it actually counted my vote or not. So maybe there could be a way where it seamlessly, after I vote, it just takes me back to the game page.
Yeah.
Right? That, I think, you know, maybe we could do that. And I can't wait for this to be an app.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Now, it's fair to say they did launch 2 days before PAX went live, right? So
yes, that is true.
That is a bold move, Cotton, right? To launch 2 days before, like one of the biggest gaming conventions with up to 80,000 people there. Like, so I commend them. Like everyone was at the booth. You know, the site was super speedy with like everybody like coming in trying to like use it, and you know,
I didn't get a T-shirt. I wanted to carry that T-shirt. We sold out of T-shirts.
I know.
Hey guys, if you're listening,
we'll get one.
Guys, if you're listening, we'll do T-shirt for T-shirt. We'll give you a Rated G for Gamers podcast T-shirt. I need a Curionauts T-shirt, extra large. And Dave needs Evangelist T-shirt.
Vantagist.
Extra large.
Vantagist large. There you go.
Oh, you want a large? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
take
make
an
that
extra large. I'll take an extra large. So one thing that we have to talk about, we have to do a correction from the last show. And to be fair, when we did the last show in the hotel room, we did do it at like 2:00 in the morning.
It was a little late, so we tried our best to get all the details right. But we do have to set the record straight, because otherwise I'll be put in a headlock again. That Macho Man. Right, Macho Man Randy Savage, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, one of the greatest hype men of all time, in my opinion.
Ooh, yeah,
that's pretty good. It's pretty good. He is very
I don't
much
have a voice, so that works.
He is very much in WrestleQuest. They do have the likeness of Macho Man. Rest in peace. Muchacho Man, the lead character, he's a Mexican wrestler. He bases his kind of wrestling style off of Macho Man. So they are two different characters. You play as Muchacho Man, but Macho Man very much represented in there. So we just kind of wanted to correct that.
Put a little correction out there. Okay. I can't wait for this game. I can't wait to see the interview, because you did an interview with a friend of the show, Patrick Hickey, right? He did the lead voice. Lead. I don't want him to put me.
No. He is the voice of Muchacho Man. Among others, he does a very talented voice actor. Among other things, I think that may be going up later today after we do the record. So by the time you hear this episode, we should have that up. You can check that out on YouTube. It's a very good interview. Yeah.
I thought he was going to come behind the camera and give me a suplex.
I mean, I think you could have taken it.
I could.
Yeah, of course. You got this.
All right. Before we go to break, a couple of notable mentions. We're not going to talk about it sort of in the show, our top games of PAX, because we already discussed it in sort of our recap show in the hotel room. But we do want to mention them here because they were great games, our main games that we definitely needed to talk about. 30XX, right? Which we thought we saw it for the first time this year, but actually the first time we saw it was in 2020. Friend of the show, Matt, freelance writer for IGN, he told us that we had to come to the booth and see 30XX. I think there was like an early build of it.
Yeah.
But obviously we haven't been to PAX. Well, you've been to PAX last year,
yeah.
But we don't.
Together, we haven't been there since 2020, so it's been a while.
2020, yeah. So it's been a while. We didn't really hear much about it. So, and definitely they put more into it.
Oh yeah, I mean it looked great then. It looks even better now.
Well, in 2020, I don't believe he said anything about create where you can create
the levels. Yeah,
the level. Yeah. So that I think that's like the big new thing that they're adding that they just showed off, at least that we saw.
Yeah.
This year. And then we got Strayed Lights. That's actually, I think that's a big game. That's I mean, it's coming out in April, right?
Yep,
I believe.
Yeah, it's coming out pretty soon, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you this is going to be one of those games that's going to be a limited run release around E3 time.
Oh,
right? When they have their presentation and it's like these are games that are going to come out physical. I bet you Strayed Lights is going to be.
Honestly, I think a lot of these games are contender for physical edition if they don't have one already.
Nocturnal, which was one of my favorite surprise games of the show, because when we said we were going to looking at appointments to see certain games, and I was like, yeah, all right, we'll do Nocturnal. That's fine. We'll add it on the list, because Fort Salas is a game that we really wanted to check out.
Yep.
Because this game was shrouded in secrecy, right? Like, it wasn't even on the show floor. I mean, it was on the show floor, but it wasn't playable on the show floor unless you had it.
Right. You had to make an appointment to specifically see that game, and I'll say I'm glad we did. Right? It's not your typical video game. I don't know if there's like any traditional style action, even though it's a third person type view and you're on a spaceship. Like, that's ripe for aliens, but I don't know if aliens play a part of the story. There's some mystery that you have to unravel, and I was intrigued by it. And if there's no combat in the game whatsoever, if it's all like narrative and like puzzle driven, I would be perfectly fine with that. I think it's going to be a good story.
Well, it's funny, the demo that we played, because it's such a narrative driven story, they couldn't show a lot.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
So it was kind of hard to really get into it when they didn't want to sort of spoil whatever the reveal is when they do put out a demo to sort of sell the game.
For sure.
So, the game definitely, it's sort of an early quick build that they did because he said, "Hey, we just need a demo for PAX. We're going to PAX. We need a quick demo," and they didn't want to put it out on the show floor because it wasn't polished yet, right? And I can understand that. You want people, to see it sort of behind the scenes, but I am super intrigued because it's essentially a Dead Space Telltale game.
Kind of, yeah.
If Telltale had the Dead Space IP, right, and they make sort of like a story narrative driven game, like that's what this would be, and it looked cool. And the last game that we, one of the biggest games that we really wanted to see that we talked about is, and I keep butchering the name because you said the name was
Come on, Dan.
else.
You got this, Dan. You got this.
You said the name. No, it's not my fault. You said the name was something else, and it's stuck in my head.
No. I've always said the game right. Go ahead.
No,
I got
that's
you.
not true. That's not true. You called it, Elsie.
There you go. One time out of the park, baby. That's right. That's a Ken Griffey Jr. home run up into the stands. Very nice.
Because prior to PAX, you said you really wanted to see Elise. You said you wanted to see Elise. You had said Elise, so it's stuck in my head.
I'm like Tony Soprano on the stand. I don't seem to recall that ever happening. Sorry. It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just can't recall.
But you said it, and it stuck in my head, and I kept calling it. I kept calling it.
Right.
So I kept calling it. So Elsie.
Yes.
Elsie is the name.
Who is one of the two lead protagonists? It's Elsie and Andrew. You can play as the melee or the range fighter. It is very good. This is a game that I think we mentioned it before. It is also co-published by the completionist, Gerard the Completionist, who was there. I got to see him again. I originally saw this game in 2020. They had a booth there, and I was like, oh, like I asked what they were doing. I think Alex was at the booth too, and he was like, oh yeah, we're like helping produce and fund this game. I said, wow, that's amazing, right? That was back in 2020, and it looked great then. It looks even better now. And I think it's coming out a little bit later this year. I am super hyped for this.
It's a roguelike though, right?
It is a roguelike. That was a big theme with a lot of the games that we saw. Yes, it is a roguelike, Mega Man-esque style game a little bit.
A Mega Man-esque style roguelike game seemed to be the theme of this PAX.
Now,
because 30XX is a roguelike.
Yes,
it's a roguelike,
and some other games that we're going to talk about are also like that. Now, here's what I do have to say. I think we may have a little bit of bias because, like, the games that we're going to gravitate towards, like both of us are going to be like, yes, let's go ahead and play this, are games with good art style, side-scrolling games that have like fast action. So whenever we see a game like that, it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to go ahead and try this game out. And the roguelike mechanic is hot right now. That's like the new hotness. Everybody wants a roguelike game. So
thanks to Dead Cells.
Dead Cells is the GOAT, baby. They weren't there this year. I was upset. Because they had the new Castlevania DLC. I thought there was going to be the big castle again. Yeah. Love that game.
That should have been in like at a Nintendo booth with one of the Switch. That's what it should have been. But all right, why don't we take a break? When we come back, we're going to get into our top games of PAX. We're back. I want to clarify something. We're going to get into our other top games of PAX. Because our top games at PAX were at our PAX recap episode. So I don't want to discount those games just because we already talked about them. We're going to go a little bit more in depth with other games that we saw and played at PAX. And let's start with a big game that is Dead Island 2, which is actually going to be released April 21st.
Yeah, coming out like right after Easter, which I think is great.
So I didn't I didn't play the first Dead Island. I know you weren't like super hyped about the first Dead Island, and then
it was pretty bad.
it
had a lot of issues.
And then technically, this isn't Dead Island. This may be Dead Island 2, but this is the third game because they had Dead Island Riptide.
Right. And Dead Island Riptide was the sequel to the first one. This is 10 years after the events of Dead Island 1 and Riptide, This is Dead Island 2, which is a little weird. So maybe like Riptide is like an offshoot, but I mean, it's the same kind of gameplay and all that. I would consider that part 2, this part 3, but we both got time. Well, good.
They want to do it like Universal Soldier. They're just going to forget about the other movie. Oh, forget about the other one.
Oh, Jesus! What was like John Cena in the last one or whatever? Like, didn't they always get a different Universal Soldier? There was some wrestler who was in it eventually, right?
No. Goldberg was in the sequel.
That's right. Goldberg. Yeah.
Goldberg, back when Goldberg was like undefeated, he was in the sequel. Mm-hmm. And then Van Damme had like because the whole thing is he's dead and they brought him back to life as like a mindless soldier.
Right.
And then they brought him back to life normal where he can think on his own. Mm-hmm. And he had a kid and he had a family and
weird.
He had
I'm already out. It's too much. It's too much.
He had to face other Universal soldiers that were trying to take over,
right?
And they just retconned that one.
Okay.
And he went back to being a mindless soldier.
Oh boy.
He went back to being a mindless soldier.
Well. Speaking of mindless soldiers, this is a zombie action game, right? From Deep Silver, from Dam Buster Studios. They're the developer. They call it a action role playing game / survival horror. There's some upgrade mechanics, I think, in the game, so I guess that's where the role playing comes in. But it's pretty much a zombie action game, right? You're kind of running around picking up different random weapons. I think you can craft like various weapons, and we were running through like a carnival. I think was the place where they put us.
We were running through a beach, and then you had to go into the carnival. Now, for some odd reason, I don't know what part, like we're in your demo where it kind of screwed up because you didn't have a flashlight.
No, I couldn't see anything. I was in this dark room, and the flashlight didn't turn on. I don't know what that's about. I mean, it's obviously they're still working out the bugs, and it happens. I get it, but
because I got pretty far in the demo, but I mean, to be fair, we did play this at the end. Like the very end of PAX, PAX was ending in 10 minutes, and we wanted to get in, because there was no line. It was a big line to play this game throughout PAX, so we wanted to get in and play it. And I got pretty far in it, and because you need to, sort of traverse and go back, like Metroidvania style. Go here, cut the power on, and come back. Right, craft a new gun, craft a new weapon, and then you got to kill all the zombies in the room before you can open a door. So I got pretty far at it, and I'm looking at where you are, and you're like lost in pitch black. You're like pitch black. And I'm like, where are you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I was saying. I'm like, this is much more difficult than it needs to be, I think. And you're like, where's your flashlight? I'm like, I didn't know there was one. So, all that aside, it felt pretty good. I gotta say, like, I'm kind of hyped for it now. I have to say, I'm kind of hyped for this game, Dan.
Anytime you give me a sword in zombies and say melee, go at it. That's what I'm gonna do.
You like the action, right? Okay.
I like the action, and then I'm sure I can go into settings and make it brighter, so it won't be super dark.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Then I'm all in. So I'm definitely this is a game I'm probably gonna pick up when it comes out. I'm probably gonna pick it up when it comes out. I'm gonna be honest. Get it for the Xbox.
There you go.
Another game on the list that we played that I was a little bit, I was really high on, Toxic Crusaders, which was announced right before we went to PAX.
Yeah, and they had all of the signage and branding. I mean, on the big board coming into PAX, the big sign outside was Toxic Crusaders, among other things. When you walk in, there's a big horizontal banner across the thing that was running Toxic Crusader stuff. They were all over the little TVs around the outside, the like perimeter. They went hard on this game.
And they had the Toxic Avenger there in full suit and costume.
Oh, Toxie?
With you.
Yeah,
Toxie,
yeah.
Yeah, they had him.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think their booth was more impressive than their game, Dan.
Wow. Wow, you didn't like this beat 'em up? I mean, in the style of like Shredder's Revenge.
In the style of, it is essentially ripping off, not in a bad way, but it's essentially ripping same art style, same like color shading style, same size sprites, 4-player action. Well, 4-player versus 6-player, I guess. On the you can get up to 6 in the Turtles game. Yeah, I wasn't crazy about this, to be honest.
Really?
I thought there was a lack of moves for the characters. There's things that I wanted to do that we couldn't do that was in Shredder's Revenge. Now, maybe they're unlockable moves as you play. Maybe there's an experience system. I don't know. But we got to play a level. I think I was Toxie and you were maybe the wolf guy. It was okay.
I didn't have a leg. I had like a wheel for a leg.
Yeah.
I don't know all the Toxic Crusader characters. So I had no idea who I was.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I really only know Toxie too, but I mean, well, go ahead.
The things that you loved about Shredder's Revenge are the things that annoyed me about Shredder's Revenge. Which
Go on.
Are the things that in return, I thought were great about Toxic Crusaders. You wanted a million moves. I don't want that. I don't want a million different moves. Give me 4 to 5 moves tops and let me go to town on the enemies. And we discussed it when we talked about Shredder's Revenge. It's just so complicated. So many moves, so many different combos.
Well, you don't have to.
I don't need the.
You don't have to do those moves, right? You could just use the basic attacks if you wanted to. Well, the option that they're there, I think, is better than to not have the option.
But here's the thing that because those moves aren't there doesn't hinder me in my play experience because I'm never going to use all those moves.
Well, it's optional though, right? They're not forcing you to defeat this enemy with this weird esoteric attack, right? If they did that, if it was you need to do this weird button combination to beat these enemies up, then I would be more inclined to agree with you.
Well, again, because those moves aren't there, didn't take me out of the experience. I thought it was great. I thought it felt great. I thought the hit detection was on point. I liked sort of I like the level. We only played one level. I like sort of that level design of that one level. And I like the art style. So I'm really into this game. I'm all in.
Okay, all right.
I don't know much about Toxic Crusader other than the fact that I watched the cartoon. I seen the movie. And I do have the original game. NES.
There's an NES one and there's a Genesis one. I think they're slightly different. Yeah.
Okay. I think I got both.
There was apparently a planned Super Nintendo one which got canceled. So.
Which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It would have been the best. It probably would have been the best one on Console Wars.
Yeah.
So, all right. I definitely am going to pick this game up when it comes out later in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the first games that we saw when we went to PAX, which caught my eye, I was like, you know what, this is a game we definitely got to try to get an appointment for. If not, we just got to see it.
Yep.
Which was Gravity Circuit. What a name, right? This is the Panzer Paladin of this year's PAX, in my view.
Yep. It was a bit of a sleeper hit. We were going through the stuff. What do we want to see? And we came across this game. I said, me and Dad both are like, we got to see this game. And we did. We made a beeline, and we came across this game first. I thought it was great. It's got some Panzer Paladin-esque features to it. It's got a grappling hook, very kind of Mega Man-esque. Limited color palette, right, which is intentional, but I think it looked good. It's from Domesticated Ant Games. I haven't heard of this developer before.
What a name.
I know.
10 times fast.
I know. Publisher is Plug-in Digital. Haven't heard of them either. So they must be slightly new to the scene. But I like that, Dead Island 2 is coming out soon. Toxic Crusaders is this year. Gravity Circuit, they say Q2 of 2023 for this game. So it's coming out soonish, which is great. It'll be a nice summer game. And it is coming out for everything. It's coming out for Mac, Dan. It's one of the only games that I can say is coming out for Mac. Gravity Circuit is Mac, Linux, PC, PS4, PS5, and Switch. No Xbox plans at the moment. I have to assume eventually it's going to come to Xbox, but
okay. Well, you know what? You know what else is not coming out for?
Stadia.
It's not coming out for Stadia.
Not coming out for Stadia. This game would be well. I don't know if it would be great for Stadia because it is a game that requires low lag, right? You want instant feedback in this game. You do get a lot of mobility, right? With the aforementioned grappling hook and all the kind of Mega Man moves. I believe there was like wall sliding and everything. I think there was.
This wasn't roguelike though.
No.
This was one of the games that wasn't roguelike.
It had all the trappings that it could be, but no, it didn't. I don't think it had a roguelike element to it. So you would do like set stages and kind of run through. But I mean, it felt great. I was pleasantly surprised with this game. It looked good, and the demo delivered.
It's essentially Mega Man with a grappling hook, right? And I thought that sort of that mechanic sort of made it for me because, obviously gravity and circuit, that tells you all you need to know right there. Yeah, with electricity, and you got to like swing across and try to figure out a way across, and you can use your grappling hook as a weapon as well. So I thought that I'm all in for this. I just need to know, like, is it? Oh, and you did ask him if it's going to be like, was it this game when did you ask him if it's going to be like Mega Man in the sense of like you could pick the bosses, pick the levels that you want to go to, right? And he I think he said yes. Yeah,
I think so. You do get to kind of like choose the quote unquote robot master. Yeah. And they've got like a bunch of them in this game. We only got to play the one stage, but of what we saw, it was very good. Yeah.
But you don't. Yeah, but it's not like Mega Man when you take on the ability, but I do like the grappling hook aspect of it.
Oh.
Because you get the I'm always looking to see if I can hook up and jump and see if there's like a hidden area that you can go to, and I found one. I was like, oh, super excited.
Yeah.
This is definitely a game that I'm looking forward to. To switch it up a little, this was a weird game. I know you didn't get a chance to play it. I wanted you to see the trailer. This is something I played. I played it on the Switch.
Right.
And I didn't get a chance to meet the developer, but the publisher was super excited about this game, and they had a whole bunch of games at their booth. But he really told me I needed to play this game, and that is Smile for Me. Developed by Limbo Lane. This is a weird type of game. He told me that the developer was a big fan of Parappa the Rapper, and he wanted to do something in that vein, right? And sort of the art style is definitely in that vein of like Parappa the Rapper. So it's already out on PC. It comes out on consoles April 24th, and they will have a physical. The publisher themselves, Serenity Forge, is putting out a physical edition themselves.
Nice.
They're not doing it through limited run.
Nice.
He made it a point to let me know that they're doing it themselves. It's coming to and it's coming to console, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. But it's a weird type of game where you go, like, you go around the world, go to each person, you have to sort of complete tasks, and you have to, the way you interact with people is you have to answer yes or no. But you have to like use your Switch. I don't have a Switch on me right now near me, but I do have the Wii U gamepad. Because we did do the Saturday morning retro show, which should be up for you to listen to right now.
As of this recording, yeah.
Because I did use I did play Wii U game, but you would take the Switch and you would go up and down for yes, and then you would shake it for no.
Oh,
now,
they had motion control to handle the questions.
And motion controls, yes. You could use your right thumbstick, but because it goes in like I think 8 to 10 different directions.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes when you're going, sometimes when you're going up and down, you could go to the left, go to the right a little bit, go to the left a little bit. So it's not as accurate if you're not going in a straight line, which is kind of hard to do. So they put the motion controls, which sort of made the game a little bit more. I don't want to say fun, but it sort of made the game like, all right, well. I got to move this and shake this. And
right. It feels a little more interactive. Yeah, like you, the character.
Yeah, there we go. That's the word I was looking for, interactive. And you have to go listen and pay attention. Now, if you like RPGs, there is a lot of reading. There's a lot of reading in this. I'm not a big RPG fan, but I do like to figure out the pattern of what to say yes to, what to say no to, right?
And it was a game, like you had to make people smile, right? Was that the whole thing? Like you had to figure out what the thing was?
yes, you had to make people happy. You had to make them smile.
Right.
Right. And even when they smile, it looks like all devious and crazy, right?
Yeah, it's wild. You have to go to smileformegame.com. Check out the trailer there. It is wild. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely it reminds me of the Killer Clowns. I don't know why.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space? Yeah, a little bit.
They were going to jump out a little bit. I thought they were going to jump out at me. This seems something like if Killer Clowns from Outer Space was actually like a real show, they would have a sub show, like, and it would be like Smile on Me.
Right. Like in that, like the show within a show. Yeah.
Yeah, like Krusty, right? The Krusty the Clown. He has Itchy and Scratchy. Like,
yeah.
They're Itchy and Scratchy.
Nice.
So, all right. Another game that we saw, we were really hyped to see this game. I don't know, I wasn't too sure about this, but you really convinced me that we should go see it. Mm-hmm. And that was Turbo Overkill.
Oh, the classic is an old school boomer shooter in the vein of Quake and Duke Nukem and all that. Really cool, futuristic, kind of cyberpunky aesthetic to it. And it was all in 3D, but it had kind of like an old school pixelated kind of vibe to it. Just quick, fast-paced game. I had seen this last year because our friend Anthony dragged me to the booth. He said, "You gotta check this game out. It's great." And he's like, "I've already played it. I have it on the Steam Early Access." So they had you could play a couple of levels, and I played it back then. Now they have episode 3. Which they're looking to launch on April 22nd of this year, I believe. And that will complete that'll be like version 1.0, so the full game will be out at that particular time. So we got to play some bits from episode 3. We got to use the chainsaw legs, or I got to use the chainsaw legs, which is super cool. Like your character has a chainsaw leg, very much like a Machine Girl or a... what was it? Death Proof, right? The Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez joint, right? It was like the girl that had the gun leg or whatever. So that was really cool. I mean, this game is great. It was great before. It's great now. I'm glad to see that they're kind of finishing the story, right? We did get we asked about some of the other mechanics and the other types of gameplay in it. There is a car riding scene, right? You do get like an Akira style bike, which you can kind of ride around, which I think they're still tweaking, but I think that's part of the episode 3, which is kind of cool to see. This game is coming out for everything, right? Obviously it's on, PC early access now. You can play episodes 1 and 2. I believe in their entirety. Episode 3 has a new weapon. The big ion cannon, I think, is the new weapon for this one. This is coming out for Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series S, and Series X. So everything. So.
Well, I was disappointed I didn't get a chance to play it because it was more. They didn't optimize it for controllers. It was
Yes.
keyboard and mouse only.
Mouse and keyboard,
for the demo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to play it, but mouse and keyboard skills aren't up to scuff.
You got to bone up, man. You got to bone up. Oh, it felt just like home. Felt like I was back in my room at my parents' house back in the late '90s with the CRT monitor, clicking away in Quake. Oh, it felt good.
Okay. Well, another game that actually really felt good was another space opera. Mm-hmm. Now, we didn't mean to see this. This is something that we
kind of just stumbled into it.
We just stumbled in it and it was like, well, what is this? Let's take a look at this game. And the thing that really caught our eye, because it's sort of a side-scrolling action game, but it had elements, where you're like a space in the spaceship and you have like a first-person space shooter, right? Different levels. So I thought this was cool by the publisher is PM Studios, right? Never heard of them. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that the two guys that they had there, man in the booth, were named Dan and Dave.
That was amazing. You're like, oh my God, I'm Dave, I'm Dan. This is wild.
Yeah. You got the card for Dan, I got the card for Dave.
That's right.
We should trade cards.
Yeah. Super nice guys. And game is game is really good. I was pretty hype on it. Now we didn't get to play the space shooting one, but we did get to play the side scrolling part of it, or at least like one of the early stages. You kind of wake up in your room and then you get out into this cyberpunk world. And you can kind of move and shoot. So you move with the one stick and then you aim and shoot with the other stick, which is kind of cool. So it's kind of like a twin sticky shooter a little bit, you know, a little like that Contra-esque game from a couple years ago. I forget the name.
You know what it reminded me of? You know what it reminded me of? Just like I thought this was like Katana Zero with guns.
Yeah, a little bit. It definitely had that same vibe, yeah.
Katana Zero. That was like our game of the show in PAX like 5 years ago or something.
2018, 2019 maybe? Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
That game is actually getting DLC. Finally.
Really?
The DLC is coming. Oh, yeah. They posted a thing on Twitter. I'm very excited.
So I thought I was really like into the melee in this game, right? Because you lose bullets pretty quickly.
Yes.
So I really wanted to get into melee, and he said, "Hey, you know, they're working on it. The melee, they're going to improve it and make it even better." A couple of issues, you know, some of the backgrounds blended in with where you had to go, and you didn't know that you can go there, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Blended in with the background,
yeah.
So they said they would, they're still working on that, but just the early build of this game I thought was great. I was like, I'm all in.
Yeah, and this is episode 1, right? So they're going to be doing it episodically. So, and you're right. I think all those things are true. They're all fixable. I think they can get in there and kind of tweak the stuff, and you know, it's small little things, but I think like the core of it's pretty solid, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Anything made by Dan and Dave is going to be solid.
There you go.
Terminus Arcade is the developer, so you know Dan and Dave, we're just interchangeable. It's going to be a solid game.
Could be a little bit biased, yeah.
A little bit biased. The game I think with like the most interesting sort of like conceit. Like just like the background, because when he said, he was like, "No, you're in a turtle. This is the turtle that you're inside, and you're fighting the immune system of the turtle." This was like the most like crazy out of there. Like I was like, "This is cool." Moonlight Pulse,
Metroidvania style game, right? From Seafloor Games. They are both publishing and developing this game. We got to meet the, I guess the lead developer, right? I think that's kind of fair to say, and he kind of walked us through a little bit of the game.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot. He's the developer, and he says, you know, he has like a team, you know, rotating team of people who will come and do little things, right? From other, you know, from I remember now you can just work from home and work from other countries.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's like a one-man show with like help from, you know, he gets help from, you know, from music. He has people that help him, you know, with some of the graphics or something like that. So it's really like a one-man show, though.
Yeah, small crew, very tight. You know, love to see it. And the game looked very polished. Like I said, it is a Metroidvania. You do get to recruit up to 3 other creatures, right? I forget.
Oh, it's 4 altogether.
4 altogether, right. You start off as, I forget what the creature you start off as.
Mole.
You start off as a mole, right? And then you get other creatures that have different special powers, and you do get to upgrade all the different creatures. Certain powers are only available to be acquired by those creatures. And
it's Castlevania 3 all over again.
Kind of, yeah. Kind of Castlevania 3 with Metroid aspects.
Once you liberate one of the characters and have it with you, and you can interchange and then you can use their powers to get to the other spot. Like it's definitely heavily inspired by Metroid 3 and Bloodstained Curse to the Moon 1 and 2.
Yeah, similar to that too. Yeah. Had a really good pixel art style. I think the first game that you play inside of a turtle. There's games you played as a turtle, games you've recruited turtles into your army for sure, you know, where you save turtles, never one where you play on the inside of an immune system of a turtle. So I got to give them credit.
Wouldn't that be funny? Like as soon as you're in the immune system of the turtle, and then when you get out, you find out that you're in the last Ronin.
That'd be so funny. Right? You were inside Leonardo the whole time. Saving the last Ronin.
Yeah.
That'd be a trip. So this is PC only at the moment, I think. We asked the developer if they had plans for like console releases, and that's obviously something that's on the table. But at the moment, PC, it looks like it's coming out 2024. I think this is the first and only game out of all the games that we've seen that is actually going to be a 2024 release. It did look really good, but I think there's a lot more to go development wise. So definitely kind of stay tuned.
Well, this was at PAX Rising, so
Yeah.
basically they handpicked, like, these are like the indie games that they handpicked that they think you should see.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And they were right.
definitely, they were right. This is awesome. I mean, come on. I always wanted to play Inside the Turtle and fight the immune system as a mole. Come on, didn't you?
Yes.
Now we met this next game. At least I called it the Bushido. Bushido. I almost called
Bushido. That's right.
It's just I was about to say something else. Bushido Blade. Successor. Die by the Blade.
Yes. Very much
and Dave died by the blade several times.
Oh, I got some things to say about this. It is very much like Bushido Blade. Also One Strike, but One Strike is 2D. This was 3D.
I forget about One Strike. That's right.
Yeah. One Strike is very good. Basically one hit kills more or less. There are stabs that damage you that don't necessarily kill you, but mostly it's a one-hit kill. Me and Anthony were playing this for a bit. I couldn't get a grasp on what was like a kill hit, and what was like. I knew there were mechanics there. We were kind of running around. You could kind of parry and you could dodge and move out of the way and like go in for the strike, and there was different strikes. I kept dying.
Thought your stamina meter was your health.
I did, and that was actually part of the problem. Yeah, that was actually part of the problem.
The stamina meter, because I like the fact that they put. I mean, that wasn't in Bushido Blade. I don't think so. I don't think that was in Bushido Blade. Where you have your stamina because you're going to be parrying a lot, and it makes sense every time you go for a slash with sword, you should, you should feel it, right? And you lose a little bit of stamina. So I like the way they put that in there. I don't remember. Can you jump by any means? Do you remember? Like, were you able to jump?
I'm actually
back at least.
I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure. We just kind of jumped into it. We didn't have like a developer or anybody there, like kind of like giving us the base mechanics. I think they did have a little control sheet on like what you could do. I'm unsure if you could jump or not. And that's actually a really good question, because I could potentially see them not having a jump button, right? Because samurais don't normally jump. It's mostly like samurai swords. There were some like long blades and whatever that you could have too. But
even if you don't jump, I'm not saying you're going to jump over your opponent, but maybe like jump back or jump forward.
Right. Or you could jump over like a low strike, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
It certainly looked very cool. I'm intrigued, and I want to learn all the systems. I want to learn how to get good at this game. I just didn't know what. I didn't know how to play effectively, and I guess that's on me. Right? I probably should have asked somebody or whatnot. But
to be fair, that whole booth, because it wasn't just this game. We had 2 stations for this game, and there were like 2 other games to the right of you, and they all froze. And the guy had to come and remember he had to come and unfreeze it. Yeah. So he was a little bit, he wanted to make sure everything was playable. And then and this was a spur of the moment thing. This was like, we hey, let's just jump in on this. The station was free.
Oh yeah.
You guys got to play this. I saw this earlier.
And this is from Triple Hill Interactive, Toko Midori Games and Grindstone, so it's a collaborative thing, published by Quale. I don't know them. I'm assuming they're a Chinese or Korean company, maybe. But it looked really polished, bugs aside and all that. I think it looked really good. It's coming out on everything. Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One. I'm assuming also then S and X. Didn't specifically say, and also PC. It actually, it's coming out this year. There wasn't an exact date I could find for it, but it is coming out 2023.
The thing I want to know is, like, is there a story behind? Like, are they going to have like a story element behind all the characters? Because that would be You know.
Oh,
be
a little like, you know, who are these people that you're fighting as? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, who are these people you're fighting as? And, you know, if you know, like Street Fighter, right? Like you go into a single player arcade mode and, you know, you actually want to avenge somebody or something along those lines. So that would be cool if they put like story elements in it to motivate you to go forward, like Sifu, right? Like there's a reason why you're fighting everybody in Sifu. So like that would be cool. I thought that would be cool. A game that I kind of walked past a million times, and for some reason I don't know why I had to stop. I think I was looking for you. We sort of lost each other, and I was looking for you, and I stumbled upon this game, and I was like, "Oh, this game is awesome! This game is awesome!" Planet Cube Edge. Now, this is a game in the same vein as Super Meat Boy, a Super Meat Boy style platformer that looks like it's on the Game Boy because there's no color in it at all. It's like, you know, that the green and black and white that you would have on the Game Boy. Little bit
of blue for the water, which I think was a nice touch.
Yeah.
I wish I got to see this game with you because you're like, you have to check this out. And this was after the fact. And I looked at the trailer. I said, yep, this is a game I would be into.
Published by Firestoke, developed by, was it Sun Entertainment? It's coming out on everything. And well, I guess it got released out. It's already out. It came out February 23rd, apparently.
Yep.
I don't know why this game isn't getting more shine.
It certainly should.
Getting more marketing. Like, if you like Super Meat Boy, this would be a game that you would like. You play as a cube. I mean, look, I like cube games that are in 3DS. You play as a cube. It's essentially taking that cube game that's on the 3DS and put it in Super Meat Boy and taking away the color, right? That's exactly what it is. I mean, obviously, it's dialed down a little bit. Like, Super Meat Boy is, like, outrageous with the chainsaws and all that stuff and the spikes. This is a little bit dialed down like it would be on the Game Boy. But this will challenge you. Dave likes hard games. I got frustrated at one point and I had to put it down. So this would challenge you. So I definitely a hidden gem of PAX in my view.
Okay.
Very high on this game. And the last game we're going to talk about, Mythic Protocol Riftstorm.
Mythic Protocol.
Mythic. Oh, I thought
Mythic Protocol Riftstorm.
Sorry, Mythic Protocol Riftstorm.
Actually,
I thought the game was just called Riftstorm, and Mythic Protocol was the studio.
It's both. Mythic Protocol is both publishing, developing, and titling their own game. Mythic Protocol : Riftstorm. So. This was a wild time. It's cyber Diablo, basically, right? Diablo with kind of a cybernetic shine to it. It is a three-quarter view, top-down, twin stick shooter, right? Right now, it's currently targeted for PC. They don't have a release date yet. It's still pretty early, to be honest. But the build that I got to play was good. It did have a lot of performance issues, I'm not going to lie, but for what it was, it felt good, and it was pretty cool. They asked me, because they asked me if I was a Diablo fan. I said yes. I said I played them all. I wish I could be playing Diablo 4 because the demo dropped, basically the beta test dropped while we were at PAX, and I was like, I can't really play that right now. But you can go ahead and play Riftstorm, which is like Diablo and
Diablo with guns.
Yes, apparently. Yes. And then he asked me do you like hard games? And Dan's like, yeah. This guy likes the hardest of the hardest. So he's like, all right.
He's evangelist.
That's right. Of course. That's right. I'm evangelist. So they put me on the hardest level by like choice. I said, all right, give me like the boss round. And I died a couple of times, and then I was having a really good run, and I quit out of the game by accident, and that was on me. I quit out of the game by accident. But it's really cool. You basically go like room to room, clear out a bunch of enemies, and then sometimes you'll get like an upgrade, and you'll get to choose between a couple different ones. There's a few different character classes. I think 3 different character classes they had at the particular point in time. And it looked really good. It sounded really good. Like the soundtrack and the headphones was pretty solid.
Well, I put it this way: everything that you saw criticisms aside, because the criticisms are relevant to the fact that this game is so polished and they only made it in a year.
Yes.
They started this a year ago.
Yeah, it's quick.
That is amazing. That's amazing.
It's quick. And it's, it's good. I'm very, very excited to see where this goes. Can't wait for this game to come out. Yeah, and they don't have a release date just yet, so we don't know. But right now it's PC. I was playing with a controller, which felt good. I can only assume that console ports are coming.
I will say I don't remember the game. Just as a side note, I don't remember the game we were playing, but we were playing with an Xbox controller, and they said they had no plans. It was like a PlayStation exclusive. And I thought that was because obviously we were playing the demo build on PC. I just thought
that was Fort Salas, I think. Fort Salas is just PlayStation and PC.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious because you were playing with an Xbox controller.
Yep.
And it's like, no, is that coming out on Xbox?
No, it's not coming out on
PlayStation.
PlayStation only. Yeah, which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but you were playing with an Xbox controller. All right, Dave. This is something that we haven't done. Really, I think we did it last year, but it didn't count for me.
Well, you weren't able to kind of weigh in. Yeah.
But what would you pick as your game of PAX?
Mm-hmm. And last year I gave it to WrestleQuest. I thought WrestleQuest was great. Previous years we gave it to Katana Zero, like we said. We gave it to The Messenger, I think, one of those years.
We did.
2020, I think, may have been Ghost Runner. Was that the one?
I don't know if I would have gave it to Ghost Runner. I don't think so.
I forget the game in 2020, but
I think Katana Zero was like 2018, and then maybe
Messenger was 2019. Yeah.
Yeah, Messenger 2019. But we're gonna do something different this year, where we're both gonna pick our games to show.
Because it seems like me and Dan can't decide. And it's a hard call. There was a lot of really good stuff. I mean, Turbo Overkill was great. Gravity Circuit was great. Mythic Protocol Riftstorm, for all its performance issues, felt really great. Toxic Crusaders, not so much.
I thought that was great. It may be my game of the show. Maybe my game of the show. But the good thing is we don't know. I don't know which one you're going to pick. So I'm kind of curious. What would you pick as your game of the show?
I'm gonna have to say for the uniqueness and the level of detail that was in the game so far, for the top-notch voice acting, for the kind of theme, the desolate space station on Mars. I'm gonna have to give it to Fort Solis or Solis. I have to give it to Fort Salas.
Are you giving it to Troy Baker?
I'm giving it to Troy Baker. Oh boy, Troy Baker is voice acting in the game. Love it. Very good. I was very, very impressed with the game so far. It is kind of coming out soon. It was an earlier build than what they have. Obviously, they're a little bit further along with it, but the part that I got to play, like I'm in. I'm sold.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. The game that I picked. Is the game that I didn't think I was going back and forth. I have my top three. Yep. I do have my top three.
Yep.
Toxic Crusaders would be number 3. I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay, you liked it that much. All right.
I really did.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but I think it could have been more.
I don't think I need all the overcomplications with all the moves. I know you don't have to use them, but you can also just use the regular controls like a regular beat 'em up, like you're playing a Genesis. Like this, it brought me back to that time where beat 'em ups were simpler and less complicated, and that's what I want in a beat 'em up. I would number 2, 1 and 2. These things kept jumping back and forth together. I really love Gravity Circuit. It almost made my game a show.
First
Gravity
one we
Circuit
played too,
awesome.
And it was like, oh my god, this could be the game of the show.
It was, we talked about a lot of the games at PAX were, sort of, roguelike Mega Man style games. And those games are good, but I'm not a roguelike person.
Right.
I'm not,
right.
I'm not a roguelike. I prefer it not to be roguelike so I could study the level and figure out how to get past it. I don't think this is a roguelike, but I also love Mega Man with a hook. With a hook.
Yeah.
All right, so I thought that really got me because I was using the hook more as a weapon than using it to glide me through places. And I was like, I didn't even get to the boss battle. I was just looking around to see if I can glide and see if I could find like hidden areas.
You can grapple the enemy, bring it towards you, and then wing it at somebody. Oh, it felt so good.
Really? I thought it was I could grapple an enemy and go towards the enemy.
Oh, maybe like that's it. Yeah.
But my number one game of the show is a game I was surprised I would like, and I really did like it, and that is Nocturnal, baby.
Oh, so good. So good. Yep.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, you got the black fog that's everywhere that's like killing everybody, right? And you need to and listen to the last episode that we did. You need to, you have your sword. It's all melee, and you need to keep your sword on fire and light the lamps so you can push the fog away. And the sword needs to be on fire if you want to face enemies, like if you want to defeat the enemies.
Yeah.
I made it pretty far in the game. Again, that's Metroidvania-like because you have to go over here to do this, to upgrade, unlock something. Well, not upgrade. I don't know if you can. I don't know if they'll have it to where you have to upgrade something, but you have to unlock a door by going over here and handling that part of that section, and they'll lead you over here. So Nocturnal would be my game in the show. And it was surprised because I didn't even want to play it.
No, but I mean, like, after watching that trailer, like, even watching the trailer looked great, don't get me wrong, but seeing it in person was like a whole nother level. I am definitely with you. Nocturnal was definitely in the mix for me. Elsie was in the mix for me. 30XDX was in the mix for me. A lot of good games this year. So, yeah, all right. Well, I think that about does it. That is part 2 of our PAX East 2023 coverage. That's episode 353. That is in the books, folks. And we want to thank you guys for listening to the show, for liking, commenting, and doing all the good stuff that you guys do. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. So please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.